It's time for the Garden Guide with your host, Mark Anderson from Anderson Seed and Garden.
New research suggests that people are more likely to eat vegetables if they have a tempting name.
What would life be without homegrown tomatoes? Only two things that money can't buy, and that's true love and homegrown tomatoes.
From gardening to landscaping.
Today we are going to try and create garden eyebrows. Kind of like the flowers are sprouting directly from your hair. That makes sense.
Go! Phone lines are open at 753-KVNU or 800-369-KVNU.
Kind of like eating vegetables.
It's the Garden Guide, now on KVNU 610 AM and 102 FM.
And we welcome you to the show, the Garden Guide, here on KVNU on this beautiful Saturday morning. And it's 64 degrees outside the KVNU studios. We'll feel right along with Mark Anderson of Anderson Seed and Garden. And Mark, I always joke with you that it's good to see you each Saturday morning, but particularly this Saturday morning, it is really good to see you.
Even better, it's nice to be seen. It's nice to be seen. We had kind of an interesting night last night.
Yes, it was quite a night for many people.
Yep.
And, normally we try to keep your mayor hat outside of the room
the
on
garden
the garden
hat.
show,
Yep,
and
exactly.
then the gardener's hat comes in for Saturdays. But want to take just a few minutes and just check in to see how you're doing, and also how our firefighters are doing, and how many people in and around the island area are doing this morning. And then we'll get to the garden show.
I've always said, when I first ran for city council back in like 2019, it's like I'll never talk about city stuff on the radio show. This is the first time.
Yeah.
This is the first time.
Yeah.
But I was actually at the city employee pool party last night, and so I was there till about 9:30. So we got home, and I've still got my swimsuit on from last night. I'm still wearing my swimsuit from last night and a t-shirt, and we sat down and kind of just started relaxing a little bit, and saw the emergency vehicles going by, and then we started smelling smoke, and we're just like, oh, that's not good. And so we went out and saw the glow of the fire there on the hillside, and we're like, okay, emergency crews got here super fast. It's going to be under control. And then shortly after that, we got the evacuation signal, and it's like everybody on Canyon Road needs to go.
Yeah.
And so, what do you grab?
Yeah.
What do you grab? And what's ironic is I was talking with our emergency manager this week, and we were talking about Ready, Set, Go, which is a really great program. And if you're ready at a second's notice, you know what to grab, and you know where to go, what to do if it happens. And then, it's set, then it's like, okay, be prepared to grab and run. And then when they say go, you grab your stuff and you get out. And so, we grabbed the cash that we had, to grab passports and pets, and we got out of there. We got out of there as fast as we could. And so I spent the night kind of watching the progress of the fire from over on Cliffside.
Yeah.
And just kind of watching it go. And what's really scary is, we saw, trees that would just ignite instantly and just turn into this giant inferno
It's like an explosion.
of flame. Yeah. But we saw like a tree down by the trail just go up, and it just caught the grass right next to it. And literally in 10 or 15 seconds, it went from the trail all the way, like a couple hundred yards up the hill, and right to
the highway,
400 north, right to the highway. Just in seconds. And I knew there were firefighters like right there. And I was just like, oh my gosh, I hope those firefighters, got out of the way.
Yeah.
I was like so concerned about them. But our emergency crews, police and fire, they did such a great job getting people out of the homes, checking on homes, making sure everybody knew that we're, in an area that could have been impacted. And, those firefighters they did such a great job. I just talked to the fire chief, and he said no injuries and minimal damage to a few structures. We couldn't have had a better outcome, considering how aggressive this fire was and how fast it moved and how hard the wind was blowing. It was just blowing that fire all over the place. And I saw fire trucks just hunkered down in that neighborhood right by Herms, just working for hours on end, just to protect those homes and to protect that business. And protect Rudy's because
the greenhouse.
They were
right
just
there.
hunkered down right there at Rudy's, and I mean they just really put themselves out there to prevent any property damage and contain that fire the best that they could. Yeah. And then we just had some amazing neighbors, cities, North Logan pitched in. I mean, I can't name everybody that did because I don't know everybody that has. So, but I know we have some amazing neighbors that all showed up to help and to support. And USU was, their police were all over there. And they just did an amazing job to help support so that our crews could really dig in there. And we had state support like immediately. Like the State Fire Task Force was just like right there and got into it as quickly as they possibly could get here. So and we are blessed and fortunate and just very grateful for everyone's work and had emergency shelters set up in just a very short amount of time where people could go. And I know a lot of our residents probably feel like they got kicked out of their homes and they just didn't know where to go. And we had shelters, set up there for places for people to go. And I stopped in and spent half an hour there with everybody just to check in and make sure everybody was okay last night. And just seeing how many people reached out a hand to help somebody else was a really humbling and amazing experience. Yeah, it was really, really great experience. So just super grateful to our teams, our emergency manager. Everybody just pitched in and just did what needed to get done, and they really kept this at a minimal damage. Yeah, minimal damage.
That's good news. And we are hearing that now 4th North is open to limited traffic.
They've got
one direction.
One lane. Yeah, they got one lane going.
Each direction.
And we still have people evacuated from their homes. I would suspect many will be able to go back this morning. Yeah. Probably around 10 or 11 o'clock, I think, is what they're kind of shooting for. There's still a lot of hot spots that they're working on, and they're trying to like prevent any more spread. Yeah. And so they're really still working quite heavily down in that area. And it sounds like from maybe 1100 east to 1600 east, it might be this afternoon before people get back in. So it's going to be a little while still. Yeah, a little while for some people. So there's breakfast at the steakhouse, the LDS Steakhouse on 5th East and Center Street. If you've been impacted and you're not sure what to do, there's going to be people there to hang out with and visit and commiserate with and breakfast as well.
Yeah.
So,
and there's also been another shelter set up at Green Canyon High School.
Green Canyon High School.
Yeah.
Yep.
So there's 2 of them.
Absolutely. So, again, teams have just done an amazing job to respond and to know what to do and to be in places where they can help as many people as possible. And so just super grateful to everybody who's been up all night.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's like, I think I got like 2 hours of sleep last night. So.
Well, it has been quite a night, and for many of us who were watching from a distance as we were covering this and monitoring the situation, our thoughts and prayers are with you and so many that are right in that area, and so.
And we knew this was a possibility.
Yeah,
I mean that's unfortunately why we did the fireworks.
Yeah,
we knew that we just didn't have the help. We are very fortunate that it happened at a time when there aren't other fires going on in the state, and we got all the help that we needed. Yeah, we got all the help that we needed to get this under control as quickly as possible. So,
so good that you and your family are okay, Mayor, and everybody else is safe.
Yeah,
and like you said, just some very minimal damage.
Yeah.
To a few structures and vehicles is what we're hearing.
And your first response is to kind of freak out, and I'm just like trying to be the calm one. It's like, okay, honey, grab that, get that, grab this. Okay, we're taking all the vehicles.
Yeah.
We're leaving with all the cars, and let's get out of here.
Yeah.
It's time to go.
But you bring up a good point, and maybe this is kind of one of those things that we always talk about things that you can do in your yard, but as we talk about things in your home, you mentioned many of us have grab-and-go bags.
Yeah.
But when was the last time we actually went through and checked what was in the bags? and do the clothes still fit the kids?
Yeah,
and does the food still taste edible?
Is it okay
and safe to eat?
Yeah.
You know, and do you have documents, like you mentioned, passports and birth certificates in those bags?
Important things that you're just like, okay, I'm gonna let's grab the stuff and let's get out of here.
Definitely something that all of us need to go through and review and make sure that we have and in moment's notice, because like you said, as dry as it is right now, we're hopeful and prayerful that this is just the only fire that we see this year, but
honestly, Thursday, the emergency manager and I and our public works director sat down and we talked about Ready, Set, Go and what we needed to do to really promote it more in our city. And we kind of put a plan together. So if you see in the next month or so a lot of encouragement
about
to do this,
ready,
it's not because of the fire. The plan was already in place before the fire.
About 48 hours
exactly.
before.
So this gives us a really good reason to promote this.
Yeah.
However, we were actually working on it beforehand. So quite interesting. So
so glad that you're doing well.
Yeah. Well, let's change topic and let's talk gardens. So,
and I have to ask a great segue question. As you were pulling out of your driveway and we're about to leave.
Yeah.
Did you offer a prayer for your pumpkins? Because I know how much you've cared about them this year.
The pumpkins are toast already this year. They just have. I don't know what happened between the wind and just a couple other things. I do not have a pumpkin set, and so I'm just like ready to just throw in the towel this year because it's almost too late. So they just have struggled all season between the cold in April and the cold in May and the wind and everything else. They're not doing anything. So so no prayers for the pumpkins. We actually did say a prayer. It was kind of like a last rites prayer. So I don't think I'm going to have a pumpkin for the pumpkin festival this year. Dang it.
Because I did see we announced the date of the pumpkin festival. It'll be coming up this fall.
October 3rd.
Yeah.
We had to move.
First weekend in October.
Yeah, I had to move because of the homecoming, USU homecoming parade. So we had to move it back a week. So, but it's not going to make a difference for me because my pumpkins are not doing anything. Dang it. But my corn is looking amazing.
Great.
And we're harvesting cucumbers like crazy. My zucchini plants don't look great, but they're looking better. I put them in a different spot this year, and I think they're getting like too much shade and
kind of impacting.
Yeah, they haven't been great. But we had carrots the other day. They were awesome. The potatoes look amazing. They look so good. And I picked so many beans the other day. I don't think I want to see any more beans
for the year,
for the rest of the year. Yeah. The beans are plentiful is what we will call it. Yeah, plentiful. And the tomatoes are all coming on. Like I harvested my first ripe tomato the 20th.
Okay. All right.
20th of July. Yeah. 20th of July.
Oh, no. So then, about a week and a half ago.
A week and a half ago. So I'm like, God, if I can get a tomato like before the 24th of July, it's like, yes, we did all right. So they're all coming on like crazy. And I've got peppers and I saw cantaloupes that were set, and they'll probably be ready in about 2 weeks. So I'm excited for the cantaloupes.
Great. All right. Well, phone lines are open, 753-KVNU. If you have a question, comment for Mark Anderson of Anderson Seed and Garden, as we are talking all things lawn and garden. And, maybe to start things off, let's talk a little bit about insects, because I saw a study this week about the number of insects now that are inside people's homes because it is so hot.
Yeah.
So ants, spiders, many of these insects are saying, hey, we got to head inside.
Here's a great place to hang out. Yeah, here's a great place to hang out.
And so I'm seeing a lot of cases, and my daughter called me the other day. She's like, Dad, I've never had ants in my house ever, and here they are. And so, ants, spiders. What's the best way to be able to keep these insects out?
It's that time of year where the insects can actually feel that the weather is changing because the days are getting shorter and the nights are getting cooler. And so they can feel the difference. So they're searching for places to hunker down for fall and into winter. And in many cases, spiders, especially like aggressive house spiders, they're looking for mates and a place to set up nests as well too. And so they're going to come inside because it's a great place.
Yeah.
And so there's some things that you can do to prevent that. And one of them is to set up some spider traps that you can use indoors, and you can kind of monitor the population. And so we have spider traps that come in 5 packs, and they're a sticky glue board, and you kind of fold them up because they are super, super sticky. You don't want to like get it stuck to you. And you put those in strategic locations, like in your pantry, or underneath the sink, or behind the garbage can, or down the basement, where window well areas, and the spiders are attracted to it. So there's an attractant in there. It's a pheromone attractant, so the spiders are attracted to it. But once they get stuck, then there's even more attractant there, because a stuck insect, it looks like free lunch.
For
the
buffet
for the other ones.
Else.
Yeah. And so then the other insects will come in, and then they'll get stuck, and all of a sudden you've got spiders and earwigs and ants and all kinds of things stuck to the trap. It's a great way to monitor the activity of the insects inside, because you might not see them, but sometimes you can catch them and then realize it's like, oh my gosh, we got a whole bunch of insects inside the house. So I like to use the traps for an indicator. They won't stop all the bugs 100%, but they're a great way to kind of keep track of what traffic there is in your house. And then there's some very, very safe insecticides that you can use indoors to control existing and to prevent new ones from getting established inside your house. And they have a long residual, but they're very low toxicity for people, very safe for pets, and very, very effective on the insects. So my favorite is called Seismic. And the Seismic is microencapsulated, so it has a 3 to 4 month duration indoors, and it's labeled for use in homes and in restaurants and food preparation areas. So you can use it in your pantry, you can use it underneath the sink, you can use it down the basement, hit along the baseboards, wherever you think those insects are moving. And if they come in contact with it, they'll pick up the insecticide and it will kill them fairly quickly. But you spray once and you're good for about 3 months.
Okay.
Yeah, sometimes even a little bit longer. So the Seismic is amazing for like a ready to use form. The Seismic only comes really in a concentrate. For ready to use form, I would probably say use Kilobug 2.
Okay.
The Kilobug 2 is the insecticide's called deltamethrin, and the deltamethrin's very, very stable, and again, low toxicity for people, very safe for pets and children, but has a nice long residual. Any insects that crawl through it, they'll pick it up and it'll take care of the insects. So for ready to use form, the Kilobug 2 from High Yield would be sensational. Minimal smell. It won't stain carpets, it won't stain walls or anything, but it gives you that barrier, and you can use it indoors as well as out. Okay. And so usually I'll say, hey, set up your traps, do a perimeter treatment. We got box elder bugs starting to show up again. Yep. And so you can spray your siding in your house for box elder bugs, do your foundation, do around your windows, around your doors, door frames, dryer vents, anywhere where you think insects may want to come inside. And, sealing up your house and all the entry points is kind of critical as well too. But then once you get that perimeter barrier outside, if you really start catching a lot of stuff inside, then you should probably spray inside as well too. But you can start with that outdoor perimeter, and it will prevent new ones from coming into your home for again, multiple months.
Okay.
Yeah, multiple months. And it's effective on spiders and ants and earwigs and grasshoppers and crickets and ants and, box elder bugs, elm seed beetles, you name it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Really does a great job. And, if you were to call an exterminator, like say you called Logan Extermination, they would use a very similar product. The big difference is
same sprays.
Basically the same sprays. Yeah.
Okay.
Same sprays. But the difference is you've got someone who does this professionally, that knows the locations where to apply it, and to be generous enough to be effective, but precise enough to not have insecticide everywhere.
Right.
So they're experienced at where to apply.
Okay.
And they'll do a very good job for you. But this is something that if you wanted to, you could absolutely do yourself.
One of the things I was mentioning to my daughter that I had seen in this story, which I found was interesting, but it makes sense, is that especially with ants, one of the things you want to avoid doing is, killing them, squashing them right there, because ants, similar to bees, when they are killed, they release a pheromone.
Yeah.
Which is almost kind of an emergency alert smell.
And it activates everybody
triggers
else.
Other ants.
Yeah.
And so what happens a lot of times is if you kill an ant, then immediately more come to the rescue.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden now you've got more. And so, yeah, the best thing to do is use those sticky traps, which will attract all of them to that trap. Then you can throw away the trap. We use those up at our cabin all the time.
Yeah, they work great.
And the sprays are just phenomenal.
Yeah.
We'll love them. Usually just probably 10, 15 minutes you can spray it. It's dried, and then you don't have to worry about it.
Most people can get away with 1 or 2 applications, sometimes a third if necessary, for the whole year because of the long duration that you get. And so, sometimes we'll do a spray in the spring because the box elder bugs are getting out of control. And then we usually don't have to do anything until the summer when the spiders start getting out of control.
Yeah.
And it does a very, very good job. But it's invisible. And it doesn't smell, and it's really, again, very, very low toxicity for people, but super effective on the target insects we're trying to control.
Okay, so sticky traps, several different sprays that you can use if you've got spiders, if you've got bugs that are starting to infiltrate into your home. Now,
one thing we didn't talk about at the top of the show, since we talked fire instead, just got a whole bunch of new perennials in.
Oh, great.
So at the store, we've got a gorgeous selection of in-bloom perennials right now, and we just got a couple hundred. And so great color. So we've got some new color at the store if you want to add a few things into your landscape. And then Monday, I've got a truckload of shrubs coming, and we've got some gorgeous shrubs. I think they're all from proven winners. And so these are like really nice varieties. They look really good. We've got hydrangeas coming. We've got dogwoods coming. We've got some lilacs. We've got a whole bunch of really nice shrubs showing up, and they will all be available on our cash sale.
Oh, great.
Yeah, so we're still doing the cash sale. So
going on.
So
okay.
15% off on all of our nursery stock. So all of our trees and shrubs and fruit trees and evergreens, and vines, they're all 15% off. But if you pay with cash, you get an extra 10%. Well, all these new plants that we just got in, they're gonna be on sale as well too.
Okay.
And so Monday we've got a really good sized truck coming. I think there's about 500 shrubs. So we got a whole bunch of brand new, gorgeous shrubs, lots of great varieties. If you really want some hydrangeas, I've got some awesome hydrangeas coming, and I've got a bunch of them, and they'll be 25% off if you want to pay with cash. So yeah,
great.
Yeah, so we found a couple growers that had some discounts on some really nice plants that they just needed to move along because they had too many, and so we're taking advantage of their sale, and we're passing the sale price on to everybody else. Yeah,
okay.
So great time to come in. I know it has been hot, but it really is a good time to plant as things are starting to cool down. And we won't have to be watering nearly as much in the next couple of weeks as temperatures cool and nighttime temperatures cool down and days get a little bit shorter. It's a really great time to go ahead and do some planting. So brand new perennials came in yesterday. Brand new shrubs showing up on Monday. I got my fingers crossed that they will be there. And cash sale going on. So 15% off if you pay with a debit card or a check or a credit card, but you get that extra 10% off on those trees and shrubs and evergreens and all those brand new perennials and brand new shrubs that are showing up. 25% off if you pay with cash.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, let's get right back. You were mentioning about being very, very hot, and a lot of us have increased our watering a little bit to just try to keep some of those garden plants alive. But on the other hand, as I was looking at some of our tomato plants, I started to wonder, maybe I'm giving them a little too much water. I've normally this is the time of year when you want the fruit to start to set and start to ripen up. And with the amount of water that I'm giving it, I'm wondering if I'm watering it a little too much.
You know, it's hard to tell sometimes if you're giving too much or not enough water because the symptoms look very, very similar. Mm-hmm. And so if they're drowning with too much water, they look like they're not getting enough water. They'll kind of wilt and the leaves will kind of start to turn brown and so it's hard to tell sometimes. So what we usually will tell people is, you need to get in there and double check. So I'll have homeowners come in and they're like, I got this row of burning bushes and they're not doing very well and half of them are great and the other half are not doing really well. And so I'll start asking questions. It's like, okay, have you got a bark mulch down? And they're like, yes. Have you got like a weed barrier? Yes. It's like, are you using a drip system? Yes. I was like, okay, you need to dig down in there and pull the bark back and pull the weed barrier back and see if the soil is either wet or dry. Because if it's wet, I can guarantee you're gonna like pull mud out of there because it's like so saturated, and the burning bush will turn red prematurely. Like,
and you're just drowning
the leaves will start to change color prematurely, and they look like they're not getting any water, and so you water them more. But in some cases, you pull that mulch and that weed barrier back, and the drip system's doing its job, but the mulch is also doing its job, and it's retaining all that moisture. And so if it's going 2 or 3 times a week, it's probably 2 or 3 times more than what you need, because the mulch is actually really holding a lot of moisture down there, and those plants are like drowning. And they'll go home and they'll cut into the weed barrier and they'll pull it back, and they'll come in a couple of days later and go, yeah, you're right. It was like too much water. Yeah, too much water. Or they'll come back and go, yep, that dripper was like not working. All the rest of them were working, and that one was like, it was dry as a bone there compared to the other spots. So literally you've got to just get out there and physically check sometimes and just see what the soil conditions are. But compare them to a good looking plant. You know, if you've got a plant just nearby that's like looking really good and under same conditions, you know, check the soil over there and see what a good condition should look like, and then go compare it to the ones that are struggling, and then you'll be able to determine the difference. You know, if it's like really, really dry in comparison to the ones that are doing well, or if it's really, really wet in comparison, then you know which direction you need to go.
Okay.
Yeah, just gotta know which way to go.
All right. Phone lines are open at 753-KVNU, 753-5868 if you have a question or comment. Mark Anderson of Anderson Seed and Garden. A lot of our plants now coming on with a lot of vegetables and a lot of we're getting a lot of zucchini. I think I mentioned earlier, Mark, that last year we had just one zucchini plant that somehow made it. So this year we thought maybe we ought to plant a few extras, and it seemed like all of our zucchini came up this year. And so far I'm starting to run out of neighbors that I can pass the zucchini on, and we're only into the 1st of August.
I might have to come steal some of yours because mine aren't really super productive yet right now.
I'll trade you some zucchini for tomatoes.
There you
How
go.
about that?
There you go. Yeah, my cucumbers are killing it right now. I got tons of cucumbers. So, but that's kind of normal. It seems like every year there's always like something in the garden that just doesn't want to cooperate, and you never know what that's going to be. Last year it was my cucumbers were terrible. And this year it seems like the zucchinis are struggling, and of course my giant pumpkins are struggling, but everything else is doing great. So it's like you just never know how that's going to work out. And my corn's all tasseled. I've got ears coming, and so that's a really good time if your corn's in a similar situation to fertilize your corn as well too. So I did mine just as the silks were starting to form and the tassels were opening up, and so straight nitrogen, just ammonium sulfate or ammonium nitrate if you've got it, but something with a high nitrogen is what your corn really, really wants. And I took a picture of mine the other day, sent it to one of my friends, and there's 2 ears on every single stalk.
Oh.
Yeah. So I got 2 ears coming on every single stalk. So we did a good job on the nitrogen this year.
We're looking forward to the corn.
My nitrogen applications were a little deficient last year, and so I made sure to put a good slow release.
Boosted a little bit.
Slow release nitrogen in there when I planted this year, and they are looking sensational. So
great.
Very excited for the corn.
All right. Well, let's go out to the phone lines. We have Judy who's joining us on the line from Smithfield. Judy, welcome to the show.
Thank you. My green beans, the foliage is doing great, and they're getting blossoms, but I'm not seeing any beans. I'm wondering if there's no bees or what's going on.
The beans are kind of self-pollinating, and so you don't even have to have bees get in there and do it. They will drop pollen and start setting beans. So mine were flowering for a little bit, and then all of a sudden I went out there and there's like little baby beans all over the place. So I think you will have similar results is what you will find. So just be patient. Just be a little patient. Yeah. There's actually quite a few bees out right now. I've got many purple flowers blooming in my yard, and the bees are all over them. So there's bees out there, but fortunately the beans are mostly self-pollinating, and they will set fruit, I promise.
Okay, we'll wait patiently then.
Cooler temperatures are going to help as well too, and so with it cooling down at night, that's going to help. The hot days, that's okay. It's like peppers and tomatoes; they love it when it's 95 degrees during the day, but they want it to stay like 80 degrees at night, and I would prefer it to be like 65. Yeah. So that's just that's just part of the hot summer. But they'll go for you, and all of a sudden you'll have so many beans you'll be wishing you didn't have as many.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so you don't think you need to change watering habits or anything that? No real fertilizer.
If they're producing though, you want to be really consistent with your water. So if you're watering every 3 or 4 days, just be really consistent. And with the extra heat, you may have to bump that up just a tiny bit. But my bean plants got so big, I actually cut my water back on them because they were staying moist longer because of the foliage cover. When they're small and they don't have a whole lot of foliage, the sun gets in there and dries the soil out fast. But as the plants get bigger, I'm finding that they're really holding the moisture a lot better, and I'm not watering as frequently as I was earlier. So
okay, but the plants are big, so
good. Yeah, I like it.
Okay.
So just give it a little time.
Okay.
Okay.
Thanks so much for calling this morning. Have a good one.
And that frees up a phone line at 753-KVNU, 753-5868. If you have a question or comment for Mark Anderson of Anderson Seed and Garden. And I know for our beans, it's interesting. This year we have almost like 2 sets of plants. We have one side of the garden that seem to get plenty of moisture, plenty of sunshine, and so the plants are huge. And much like Judy's, had a lot of blossoms and just barely starting to get some fruit. It's been about 2 weeks, in fact, and kind of we were feeling the same way, like, oh, boy, what's going on?
Yeah,
right.
So are they coming on?
But the other side, very, very small plants, and so we've actually been watering half of the beans twice as often as the other half of the beans, because the larger plants, you're right, you just don't have to water them as often. In fact, we're about to every 4 days on the big plants, but every other day on the small plants.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Phone lines open, 753-KVNU, 753-5868. You mentioned with your corn starting to tassel, and we're seeing that in our corn as well. Great time to also not only fertilize, but probably need to start spraying for codling moth.
Yeah, if you have any fruit.
Yeah.
So I just picked all the apples on my yellow transparent, and we're making pie tomorrow, hopefully, if I get back in my house again. Fingers crossed that will be hopefully this afternoon. But we're going to be making apple pie this weekend, so I can hardly wait. And fortunately, we kept up our sprays, and I don't have any codling moth damage in any of the fruit. So I picked about a half a bushel. So I figure we are fortunate to have a half a bushel of apples, because most people have zero. Zero apples, and so I got those all picked. Zero codling moth damage, which is amazing. And so we kept up our sprays, and we did really good. If you do have apples, it is time to do it again. To do it again. Yeah.
Okay.
It looks like we got another call.
Yeah, and Kathy's joining us on the line from Dayton. Kathy, welcome to the show.
Good morning. I'm glad you guys are all right. That fire thing sounded a little bit scary.
It was a little scary. Yeah. It was very scary, especially watching it. And it's like I'm watching all my neighbors' house and Herm's and Rudy's. I mean, these are all our friends, and we've been friends for a long time. And you're just like, oh, I hope they can keep it away from those guys. And it was actually really kind of inspiring to watch the firefighters work and do their job and protect all my friends.
Yeah.
That's I'm glad everything's all right.
Yeah, me too.
I planted a lot of tomatoes because our trees aren't going to have anything on it. Mm-hmm. 2 of them are starting to curl up and die. And they just look like they haven't had any water. The ones around them are all right, but they're just curling up and dying on me. What's wrong?
So the tomatoes, you said?
Yes.
Yeah. There's a couple diseases that can affect the tomatoes like that, and they will make the leaves curl, and the plants will look like they're not getting any water, even though they are getting water. And so one is curly top, and curly top is a disease that gets spread by insects. So leafhoppers spread it around, and what will happen is the leaves will curl upside down, and they'll twist back towards the center of the plant. And the veins on the plant will turn purple. And so you'll see the vein structure turn purple. You'll see them curl and twist. And if your plants get it, it's best to just get rid of those plants so that the insects don't pick it up from that plant and spread it to another plant as they sting the plant or chew on it. And so they can transfer the disease around. And so that's one possibility. Not being able to see it, I can't tell you for sure. But the other is like verticillium or fusarium. And those are viruses, and they're usually in the soil, and your plants will pick it up through the soil. And once they get infected, what it does is it kind of plugs up their capillaries and their transport system. So it kind of locks the root system picks up the water and then picks up the nutrient, and it starts to push it through the plant. It's like it's got clogged arteries, and it can't move the water and the nutrient through the plant. And so its transportation structure is damaged, and so they will wilt. Even though you've got plenty of water, you got plenty of fertilizer there, they will wilt as if they're not getting any water. And that's probably a plant you want to also get rid of as well too. And this is a situation we've had in our garden. I mean, for years, my dad would plant 30 tomato plants to make sure he had 20 because he had some verticillium in there. And so he'd just plant extras. And if he lost some, he'd just hurry and yank them out. And he's like, it's fine. I got plenty of plants. I got more than I'm going to ever need. But he would just plant extras. We've gotten to the point where we have started using fungicide 5 from Fertilome early in the planting process and then throughout the summer, and I've been able to stop that completely. And so you got to do it early. So if your plants are showing it already, it's probably too late. But next year, let's get on your calendar to water them with the fungicide 5 and to apply it to the leaves right when you plant them. And I dig big holes and put new soil in those holes because the disease is in the soil. And so if you can give your plant some time before it hits your regular soil, that really helps. But then I use that fungicide 5 on there, and it will fight off the diseases. And so where Dad used to plant 30, hoping you get 20, if we plant 30, we get 30 now. And so we've been able to stop it. So I quit planting 30 because it's so many tomatoes, I can't get rid of them all. And so I did like 15 this year, and all 15 look amazing. Even my heirloom varieties, which are really susceptible to these diseases, even my heirlooms are looking really good this year. So I'm very happy.
Okay, I guess I'm glad I planted 20 because, I like I said, one I pulled out just because it looked so awful, and then this one is just awful.
And you are welcome to bring a sample down to the store. I'll actually be there at least until this afternoon, until they let us back in our homes. And so I don't have anywhere else to go. I may not be dressed 100% appropriately, but
it's a beach party at Anderson Seed and Garden.
Yeah, we'll go with it. So at least I got my sandals and my swimsuit on, so we'll go to the pool later. So
yeah, might as well enjoy it.
Exactly.
All right. Well, thank you very much.
Hey, Kathy, thanks so much for calling this morning, and I do appreciate your concern, too. Thank you. I've had so many kind people reach out and just say, I know your house is right there. Are you guys okay? It's been really, really thoughtful and kind of everybody to think about us. So thank you.
Just scary stuff.
Yeah.
So take care.
Yeah, thank you.
Bye-bye.
Phone lines are open if you have a question or comment for Mark Anderson of Anderson Seed and Garden, 435-753-KVNU, 753-5868. Mentioned codling moth earlier, but also should mention earworms for your corn, too.
Yes.
If your corn is tasseling, another moth you want to watch out for.
As soon as those silks form on the corn is when the moths come in and lay their eggs, like right on the silks. And then when they lay their eggs on the silks, those little eggs hatch out. The caterpillars know to follow a silk. So it's just like having a tether attached to them. And they just like grab onto the silk and they just like follow it right into the ear.
Into the ear of the
corn.
corn.
They just follow it right into the ear. And then there's nothing to impact them once they get inside because they've got this nice tight covering and they're all happy and warm inside there and protected, and they just have free lunch.
And you can't kill them once they're inside the ear.
No. So really the best thing to do is there is a natural bacteria. It is called spinosad, and it comes in a concentrated form. It comes in a soap form that's concentrated as well, too, or ready to use. And that's the best way to treat your corn to prevent the earworms from getting in there and doing any damage. So we used to use BT, so Bacillus thuringiensis, which is also it's a really effective caterpillar killer, but it's a bacteria. So it's non-toxic to people and pets, but it's very effective on caterpillars. The spinosad is similar. It just works better and it lasts longer. And so we use the spinosad, and I'll just walk up and down the rows of the corn, and I'll just spray the silks of the corn. And as the caterpillars hatch out from the eggs, they will come in contact with the spinosad, and it will stop them instantly from getting into your corn. I guess it's not instantly, but within minutes, it will stop them from getting into your corn and doing any damage. And it's a very, very effective. You'll get about a week to 10 days control from just the one spraying, and it will do a great job at stopping those corn earworms from damaging your corn. And nobody likes to shuck the corn and open it up and have little worms they're just
the corn. Disgusting.
Yeah. It's just, it kind of turns your stomach. You're like, ugh.
Yeah.
And you just end up having to sacrifice part of the corn because you just cut it off and get rid of it because you don't even want to look at it. So, but that's the best way to do it. Of course, you can use other insecticides like Sevin, or you could use Bug Blast or Lambda. I mean, there's a triple action. There's a whole bunch of different ones. But for safety and for efficacy, the spinosad or the spinosad soap are your best bets because they're just so effective on caterpillars. But you can spray it and you can eat it the same day because it's so non-toxic to people.
And what I love is you mentioned previously that as you're spraying your corn, just avoid the tassels. The tassels, of course, is that area where your pollinators, your bees are going to be, and that part doesn't need to be sprayed.
No.
So if you just start about 6 inches below the tassel and then just spray the body of the stalk, then that way you keep the pollinators there. You be able to tackle the earworms and take care of those larvae.
That's the other great thing about spinosad is it's non-toxic to bees.
Oh,
and so
you could even put some on the tassels, and it's not going to be a problem.
Don't need to,
right?
But just do it in the evening when it's cooler and the bees have all gone home, and then by the time the spinosad dries, then the bees won't pick it up and take it back to their nest because it is toxic to their larvae, but it won't hurt your adult bees. And so we usually tell people just spray right in the ear location because that's pretty much where the insects are going to go for it. And the reason you get earwigs in your corn ears is because they're going after the other insects that are damaging the corn. And so they're actually predators, so they're going after the other insects. And so if you see earwigs crawling all over your corn, you have other insects in there as well too.
Okay.
Yeah.
So a few things to watch out for, especially with your corn as it's just starting to tassel and you're starting to get some ears coming up on your stalk.
And they're looking great. I'm super excited for corn this year.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm happy to say I think I finally took care of all of the squash bugs in my zucchini.
I think I got mine too.
It took 2 applications this year because those things were just ruthless. But I've checked them this past week and have not seen a single.
I'm afraid that that's probably the culprit that really damaged my pumpkins this year is the squash bugs because it's the only thing I can like point my finger at that makes sense because they just have not been growing like they should. Yeah. They're just kind of stagnant, and that's usually a sign that the squash bugs damage the circulatory system, and they're just not growing. So,
okay.
Yeah, dang it.
Well, we still have time for maybe a call or two. 753-KVNU. That's 753-5868 if you have a question or comment for Mark Anderson of Anderson Seed and Garden. One thing I've noticed in our lawn, though, it's amazing how even with us trimming back some of our watering to try to conserve a little bit of water and just kind of keeping our lawn going, it doesn't stop the clover. and this is the same clover that I've been fighting all year this year. And any other tips? Because, when we start to see these really, really hot temperatures, you get a little worried about trying to spray for them.
Yeah. The clover and the morning glory and the thistles. And, in my garden, I've got like puncture vine and purslane just out of control. So the weeds have really taken over this summer. And I'm not sure if it's from the heat or from the different spring and winter that we had, but all of a sudden this summer, just weeds have popped up like crazy, like no other season that I can remember where we've just had quite so many weeds. And so it has been a little bit too hot for some herbicides. But weed-free zone is my go-to still on turf. So Fertilome weed-free zone is just like the best. If we can get a couple cooler days, you can go ahead and use the weed-free zone, and it will get your morning glory. It'll get your clover. It'll get your dandelions and all those weeds that are impacting your turf. And for the garden, Decimate's my go-to. In fact, probably tomorrow or Monday, I got to get out there in the garden because I've just got puncture vine going crazy, and I got to get it under control.
You going to decimate the pumpkin plants too?
I might spray the pumpkin plants because they're frustrating me. And maybe it'll make me feel better if I just you guys aren't doing anything. I'm going to just kill you.
So if you hear taps being played from the Andersons' home, you know that the pumpkin plants
normally
are being
by this
retired.
time they're taking up 1,000 square feet, and I swear they're not even 100 square feet. They're just struggling really so bad. So it's just a source of frustration now, and so I think I'm just
done with it this year.
Even if it sets a fruit now, I mean, it's really only got 6 weeks to grow, and you can put a lot of size on the pumpkins in 6 weeks. But I don't even have a flower.
I don't even have
a flower to pollinate. So it's going to be a couple of weeks before it even can get a fruit set, and by then it's just done.
We'll wait till next year.
There's always another year.
Next year.
There's always another year.
Well, James is joining us on the line from North Logan. James, welcome to the show this morning.
Hey, fellas, thank you. Mark, I was glad to hear you guys are all right and your pets as well.
Yep. Thank you.
Quick question for you. I have a couple of pear trees that are struggling with fire blight. I treated them once with, I think it's garden one of the phosphorus treatments.
Yes.
Just on the trunk. And it seemed like maybe it slowed it down, but it's come back.
Yeah.
I'm wondering, should I treat again? Should I do a foliar spray? What's your recommendation on that?
I would do a foliar spray. And doing the trunk treatment really does help, prevent it from spreading, but it does have a limitation on how long it will last. And so it's really about a 2 to 3 month. So if you put it on in April, by the first part of July, it's pretty much gone. And so I would do a spray because it's going to be faster. And don't hold me to it, but I think your mixture is about 2 to 3 teaspoons per gallon. And make sure and spray in the evening when it's cooler, because if you spray in the morning, it turns really hot. It could burn your trees just a little bit. So sure. I'd say go on the lower rate that it recommends because it is hot. Spray in the evening and spray as much of the tree as you can. It'll absorb it in through the foliage, and it will stop the spread of the fire blight very, very quickly. It's very effective at prevention, but it's really great at curing it and stopping it from spreading. You'll still have to prune the parts out that are damaged. Unfortunately, it's not going to fix those. Sure. It would be great if it would fix those, but if you can get it stopped so it's not spreading any further, that's really our critical point. And we've used the Garden Phos successfully for many, many years to really save a lot of trees that some of our homeowners really thought were goners, and we've been able to save them. So, all right.
Perfect. Well, we'll get back at it. Thanks again.
Oh, you're so welcome, and I appreciate the thoughts.
Thank you.
Very, very thankful. Yeah.
Yep. Take care.
See you later.
All right. Well, that pretty much, wow, Mark.
Show's over.
Yes. Went by so fast. Had a lot to talk about. Yeah. Just in the last couple of minutes, though, let's just mention again, though, if you missed us talking about it at the bottom of the hour, the cash sale going on this weekend. Chance to be able to save up to 25% off.
Right. So 15% off all of our nursery stock. So we've got trees and shrubs and fruit trees and evergreens and vines. They're all 15% off. And if you pay with cash, you get an extra 10% off. And I just got some brand new perennials in yesterday. So lots of color, lots of good looking plants that just arrived yesterday. And it looks like Monday we're getting another shipment of about 500, 600 shrubs that are coming in, all proven winter varieties. So these are amazing patented varieties of plants. We've got hydrangeas. We've got nine barks. We've got dogwoods. We've got a whole bunch of different shrubs showing up, and burning bush. And they will also be on our cash sale. So 25% off if you come in and pay with cash. And it's our cash and carry sale at Anderson's. This is what's happening for the next couple weeks.
Okay.
And we're still doing compost tea, so if you need a refill on compost tea, but we are starting to get low. I would suspect we will run out of compost tea around the 10th to the 15th. of this month. So
maybe just another week,
we got a couple more weeks, I think. My fingers crossed we can get 2 more weeks.
Okay. All right. But it is starting to dwindle.
It's starting to dwindle. Yeah.
All right.
It's starting to dwindle.
So take advantage. A great selection still of some beautiful shrubs, beautiful trees. Great time to be able to plant those, put a little Bigfoot with them, and they'll take off.
They will go like crazy.
And you can be able to save up to 25% when you pay with cash. So the cash sale going on through the weekend, the new shrubs and trees expected to be there next week. And if you missed any part of the show, as always, you can go back and listen to this show and others by checking out the podcast library at our website, kvnutalk.com. We'll be back again next week for the Garden Guide here on KVNU.
KVNU, Logan, 610 AM and 102.1 FM.